Since my father died, my mother has been in a coma until the rancher spoke, and her fingers moved. Emma Collins sat beside her mother's bed, watching the rise and fall of Sarah's chest. The same rhythm for 3 weeks now. In and out, like breathing was all her mother had left. Pastor Williams wants to know about the headstone. Mama, what you wanted to say about Daddy. Sarah's eyes stayed closed. The machines hummed their electronic lullaby. I told him Thomas Collins, loving husband and father. But maybe you had something else in mind. Nothing. Emma reached for her mother's hand, cold as river stones. The whole town's talking, about the accident, about how a man who knew these woods since childhood could just get lost and fall off Mason's Ridge. Sarah's fingers remained still. Heavy boots on the porch interrupted Emma's one-sided conversation. Sheriff Kane filled the doorway without knocking, his badge catching the afternoon light, streaming through the windows. Emma, how's your mother today? Same as yesterday. That's what I figured. Kane pulled papers from his coat. I need you to sign these. What are they? Declaration of mental incompetence. Medical power of attorney. Standard forms when someone can't make decisions for themselves. Emma stood, blocking his path to the bed. She's in a coma, not crazy. Been 3 weeks, Emma. Doctors say she might never wake up. Might isn't never. Can't run a ranch from a hospital bed. She's not in a hospital. She's home. Kane stepped closer. His gun belt creaked. Home? That's going to get foreclosed if someone doesn't start making decisions. Bills don't pay themselves. What's your real interest here, Sheriff? Keeping the peace. Making sure county property doesn't go to waste. This isn't county property. It's ours. For now. Kane set the papers on the nightstand. Sign them, Emma. Make this easy on yourself. And if I don't, then the state steps in. Takes longer, but same result. Get out. I'm trying to help you. I said get out. Kane touched his gun, not drawing it, but making sure Emma saw. You got 24 hours to think about it. After that, things get complicated. After he left, Emma sank into the chair beside her mother's bed. The papers lay on the nightstand like a death sentence. I don't know what to do, Mama. Daddy never taught me about legal stuff. Said you handled all that. A knock at the door made Emma jump. Through the window, she saw a tall man in a weathered coat standing on the porch. Not one of Kane's deputies. Someone older, with kind eyes and work-worn hands. Emma opened the door cautiously. Yes. Emma Collins? Who's asking? Jacob Thornfield. I need to speak with your mother. She can't speak to anyone right now. I heard about her condition, but I need to try. Are you a doctor? No, ma'am. I'm a rancher, but I knew your father well. Emma studied his face. Something about him felt familiar, like a half-remembered dream. You knew Daddy? We were partners in something important. What kind of partners? The kind that makes enemies. May I come in? Emma stepped aside. Jacob removed his hat and walked to Sarah's bedside. He stared down at her for a long moment. She looks peaceful. The doctors say she can't hear anything. Doctors don't know everything. Jacob pulled a chair close to the bed. Your mother can hear every word we're saying. She's just protecting herself. From what? From the truth about what happened to your father. Emma's heart started racing. It was an accident. Hunting accident. No, ma'am, it wasn't. How would you know? Because Thomas told me he was afraid something like this might happen. Jacob reached into his coat and pulled out a small metal key. He gave me this before he died. Said if anything happened to him, I should bring it to your mother. What's it for? Ask her. Emma looked at her mother's still form. She can't answer. Try. Emma felt foolish, but she knelt beside the bed. Mama, this man has a key. Says Daddy gave it to him. Do you know what it opens? Sarah's eyelids fluttered, just for a second, but Emma saw it. There. She moved. Jacob nodded. She knows. The key opens a box your father hid. Inside that box is the reason Sheriff Kane wants your land so badly. Why would Kane want our ranch? Because it's sitting on top of something worth killing for. The words hit Emma like cold water. You think Daddy was murdered? I know he was. By who? People with badges and power and no conscience. Emma stared at her mother, understanding flooding through her. She knows, doesn't she? That's why she won't wake up. Sometimes the mind protects us from truths we can't handle. But you think she can handle it now? I think she's been waiting for someone to tell her it's safe to come back. Jacob stood and moved the foot of the bed. He cleared his throat, as if preparing for something he'd rehearsed many times. Your mother and I have history, Emma, before she married your father, before a lot of things went wrong. What kind of history? The kind that makes what I'm about to say either salvation or damnation. Jacob looked down at Sarah's peaceful face, and Emma saw 20 years of pain in his eyes. I'm going to speak her real name now, the one only I knew, and if I'm right, she's going to remember who she was before fear made her hide. Jacob reached into his coat and withdrew the metal box Emma's father had hidden. The key fit perfectly, turning with a soft click that seemed to echo through the silent room. Inside lay photographs, letters, and documents tied with string. Your father spent months gathering this evidence. Emma leaned closer. The photograph showed Sheriff Kane meeting with men in expensive suits, shaking hands beside surveying equipment, pointing at maps with dollar signs written in the margins. What are they looking at? Mineral surveys, your land, the Henderson place, the Widow Patterson's farm, all sitting on the richest copper deposit in 3 territories. Jacob spread the documents across the kitchen table. Legal papers, forged signatures, death certificates with suspicious dates. Kane's been stealing land from widows for years. Tells them their husbands died with debts. Forces them to sell for nothing. Then sells to mining companies for thousands. Exactly. Emma picked up a letter in her father's handwriting. Daddy knew about this? He figured it out when Kane came sniffing around your place. Started asking questions. And Kane killed him for it. Your father was going to the territorial marshal. Kane couldn't let that happen. Emma stared at a photograph of her parents from 20 years ago. But Jacob was in the picture too, standing close to her mother, his arm around her waist. You said you had history with Mama. We were engaged. Engaged! Before she met your father. Before Kane framed me for a robbery I didn't commit. He framed you. Needed me gone so he could steal my family's land. Sarah was supposed to wait for me to clear my name. But she didn't. She thought I was guilty. Married Thomas instead. Emma studied her mother's peaceful face. Did you love her? Still do. Is that why you came back? I came back for justice. But seeing her like this... Jacob's voice broke. She's not in a coma, Emma. She's hiding. From what? From the truth about what she saw. What did she see? Kane killing your father. She was at the bedroom window when it happened. Watched him push Thomas off that ridge. Emma's hands shook. Then why didn't she tell someone? Because when Kane came to deliver the news, she recognized his voice, knew he was lying about finding the body. So her mind just shut down, protected her from having to pretend she believed him. Outside, horses approached. Multiple riders, moving fast. Jacob moved to the window and cursed. Kane's back, with deputies this time. How many? 6, all armed. Emma grabbed her father's rifle from above the fireplace. What do? We stand our ground. Sheriff Kane's voice boomed across the yard. Emma Collins. Come out. Official business. Emma opened the door halfway. What do you want now? Welfare check on your mother. Heard she might be in distress. She's fine. Need to see for myself. You need a warrant. Got one right here. Kane held up a paper. Signed by Judge Morrison himself. Judge Morrison's been dead for 2 years. Funny thing about judges, their signatures last forever. Jacob appeared beside Emma, his presence changing everything. Kane's face hardened when he saw him. Well, Jacob Thornfield. Thought you were still in prison. Charges were dropped. Turns out the real thief confessed on his deathbed. Convenient. Truth usually is. Kane's hand moved to his gun. Step aside, Thornfield. This doesn't concern you. Everything about Sarah Collins concerns me. Sarah's a married woman. Sarah's a widow, and you're the reason why. Kane drew his weapon. That's a serious accusation. Got serious evidence to back it up. What kind of evidence? Jacob held up the metal box, the kind that ends careers and starts prison sentences. Hand it over. Come and take it. Kane gestured to his men. They spread out, surrounding the house. Emma and Jacob retreated inside, barricading the door with furniture. This won't hold them long, Emma said. Long enough. For what? For your mother to remember who she really is. Jacob knelt beside Sarah's bed while bullets shattered the windows. He took her hand gently. Sarah, I know you can hear me. I know you're scared. But Emma needs you now. Sarah's breathing remained steady, unchanged. Your land is worth more than any of us imagined. Copper deposits worth millions. That's why Kane killed Thomas. That's why he wants you declared incompetent. Kane's voice came from outside. Last chance, Emma. Surrender the evidence or we're coming in. Jacob leaned closer to Sarah's ear. I should have fought for you 20 years ago. Should have made you believe I was innocent. Sarah's fingers twitched. But I'm fighting now. For you, for Emma, for the truth Thomas died protecting. They're breaking down the back door. Emma called. Jacob's voice dropped to a whisper. Rose. Sarah's eyelids fluttered. That's what I called you before everything went wrong. Before Kane poisoned your mind against me. Rose. Because you bloomed in the darkest places. Sarah's eyes opened. Not fully conscious, but no longer completely gone. I never stopped loving you, Rose. Even when you chose him. Even when you forgot who he used to be. The back door splintered. Heavy boots entered the kitchen. Rose. Jacob whispered again. It's time to come home. Sarah's fingers closed around his hand. Sarah's fingers tightened around Jacob's hand as the sound of boots filled the house. Her eyes opened fully for the first time in 3 weeks, focused and aware. Rose. Jacob whispered again. Thomas is gone, but his truth lives. The evidence will make Kane pay. Jacob. Sarah's voice was barely audible, but it was her voice. Emma spun around from a window. Mama, I saw it all. Sarah's words came slowly, like someone remembering how to speak, from the bedroom window. I saw Kane push your father off that ridge. Sheriff Kane burst through the bedroom door, gun drawn, his deputies behind him. He stopped short when he saw Sarah sitting up. Well now, look who decided to wake up. Hello, Kane. Sarah's voice grew stronger. Come to finish what you started? Don't know what you mean. You killed my husband. Your husband fell off a cliff. Hunting accident. Thomas wasn't hunting. He was running from you. Kane's gun swung toward Jacob. Give me those documents or I'll put a bullet in your friend here. The documents are already gone, Jacob said calmly. What? Sent them to the territorial marshal 3 days ago, along with a letter explaining everything. Kane's face went white. You're lying. Am I? Outside, more horses approached. Not Kane's men this time. Emma peered through the broken window. Marshal's badge, she called out. Federal officers. Kane spun toward the door, then back to the bed. Trapped. You want to know what I saw that night. Sarah sat up straighter, her voice carrying across the room. I saw you corner Thomas at the ridge. Saw you demand he hand over his evidence. Shut up. I saw him refuse. Saw you shove him backward. I said, shut up. I heard his scream as he fell. Heard you laugh. Kane raised his gun toward Sarah. One more word, and I'll finish this. Marshal's at the front door. Emma shouted, but Sarah wasn't finished. She stood from the bed for the first time in 3 weeks, her legs shaky but determined. You killed my husband for money, Kane. Killed him for land that was never yours to take. Sit down. You stole from widows, murdered their husbands, built your fortune on graves. Kane's finger found the trigger. I warned you. Jacob lunged, grabbing Kane's gun arm. The 2 men struggled, crashing into furniture. Emma grabbed her father's rifle, but couldn't get a clear shot. Federal marshals. Open the door. Cain broke free from Jacob, his gun coming up again. But Sarah was already moving, grabbing the heavy metal box from the nightstand. This is for Thomas. She swung the box with surprising strength, catching Cain in the temple. He staggered backward, through the bedroom door, into the hallway. Cain stumbled, trying to regain his balance. Behind him, the old well in the back room gaped open. The wooden cover had rotted away years ago, leaving nothing but darkness below. "Sarah, don't!" Cain reached toward her, panic replacing rage. Too late for mercy. Sarah shoved him hard. Cain's arms windmilled as he fell backward, his scream echoing up from the depths of the well. Then silence. The front door burst open. Federal marshals flooded the house, weapons drawn. Marshal Davidson. Jacob said, "Hands raised. Thank God you got my letter." "We got it, and we got warrants for Sheriff Cain and his whole operation." "Cain's down the well," Emma said quietly. Marshal Davidson peered into the depths. Fitting end for a man who buried so many families. 3 months later, Sarah stood in her garden, her strength fully returned, her mind clear. The copper mine was operating under federal oversight, the profits shared with the families Cain had robbed. Emma walked between the vegetable rows, reading aloud from her father's letters. His words about justice, about protecting the land, about love stronger than fear. Jacob worked beside Sarah, planting tomatoes where Thomas was buried. They'd found peace and shared purpose in healing the wounds Cain had carved into their lives. "Read the last one again," Sarah said, not looking up from her planting. Emma unfolded the final letter. "My dear Sarah, if you're reading this, then the truth has found its way home. The land remembers who belongs to it. Love remembers who it was meant to protect. And justice remembers that some debts can only be paid in full." Sarah's hand stilled in the rich earth. "He knew, didn't he, that it would come to this?" "He knew you were strong enough to survive it," Jacob said. Emma folded the letter carefully. Around them, the land stretched toward the horizon, free at last from the shadow that had covered it for so long. The silence was finally broken. The truth had found its voice, and the earth remembered.